Hi, everybody. This is Denise Tawwab. And this morning, I want to talk with you about the tasks that are in the risk management framework, step 2, the categorize step. And I'm going to follow NIST Special Publication 837 fairly closely. They have a way that they outline each task. And what I want to do in the next few videos that I'm going to do is to cover each of the steps in the risk management framework and each of the tasks within those steps. And it'll be a high level coverage. Basically, we'll talk about the task, the definition of the task, the purpose, who's responsible for it, and what happens in that particular task. And at the end, I'll also give you references, other reference documents that you can use to help you and your organization implement the risk management framework. So let's get started. What we're going to cover is the purpose of the categorized step, that is step 2 in the risk management framework. And we're going to talk about the 3 tasks that are in the categorized step. Just a brief overview of the risk management framework version 2. We're looking at security risk management. We're also looking at privacy risk management, and those controls have been moved into the main catalog, and privacy has been moved to the forefront in Rev 2 of the risk management framework. And they also cover in that document supply chain risk management. So all of that gets considered and integrated into the risk management framework. The 7 steps are prepare, categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, and monitor. And we are on the categorize step. So let's get into it. The purpose of the categorize step is to inform organizational risk management processes and tasks by determining the adverse impact to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation with respect to the loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your systems and the information processed, stored, and transmitted by those systems. So the purpose of the categorize step is to determine how bad it's going to be if something happens with respect to confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your systems or the data that runs through those systems. And so that's what this step is doing. Let's look at the tasks that are involved. There are 3 tasks. The first one is system description. The second one is security categorization. The third one is getting that categorization reviewed and approved. So task C1, and remember in this publication, each step, the tasks are given a unique identifier, an alphabetic prefix in front of the number. So it's for categorization, it's going to be C. So C1, C2, and C3. In the prepare step, the tasks were P1, P2, P3, and all the way up to P18. So C1 is system description. In this task, you document the characteristics of the system that you're getting ready to secure. The inputs to that task, some of the inputs can be your system design and requirements documentation, your authorization boundary information, a list of the security and privacy requirements that have been allocated to the system elements, and the environment in which the system is operating, a list, physical or other processes that are controlled by system elements, system element information, and system component inventory. You also want to look at system element supply chain information, including your inventory and supplier information, security categorization, the data map of the information lifecycle for information types that are processed, stored, and transmitted by the system, and information on how the system is used, the users, and the roles. The expected output from task C1 is a documented system description. So who's responsible for the system description? The primary responsibility belongs to the system owner. Supporting roles can be played by the authorizing official, the information owner, system security and privacy officers. But the primary responsibility is on the system owner. All right, some things to think about when you're describing your system. A description of the system characteristics is going to be documented in the security and privacy plans, included in attachments to the plans, or referenced in other standard sources for the information generated as part of your system development lifecycle. Duplicating information is going to be avoided whenever it's possible. The level of detail in your security and privacy plans will be determined by your organization, and it's going to be commensurate with the security categorization and the security and privacy risk assessments of the system. And keep in mind, when we say security categorization, we're talking about low, moderate, and high impact systems, whether the system is low, moderate, or high impact. Information may be added to or updated in the system description as it becomes available during the system life cycle, during the risk management framework steps, and anytime a system characteristic changes, you want to update that system description. System registration information is going to be updated with the system description information. All right, some things to include in a system description would be a descriptive name of the system identifier. Maybe you have a unique number that you give to each system, a system version or release number, the manufacturer and supplier information for that system, the individual responsible for the system contact information, the name of the organization that manages, owns, or controls the system, the location of the system, the purpose of the system, and any missions or business processes that are supported by the system, how the system is integrated into the enterprise architecture, and the SDLC phase. You also want to include results of the categorization process. I'm going to struggle with that word, and the privacy risk assessment. You want to include the authorization boundary in the system description. You also want to include any laws or regulations that you must comply with related to the security of the system or the privacy of individuals if this is a system that handles PII. You want an architectural description of the system, including network topology. You want to document the information types, the hardware, firmware, and software components that are part of the system, the hardware, software, and system interfaces, internal and external. You want to document information flows within the system, as well as network connection rules for communicating with external systems. Other things to include in the system description might be interconnected systems and identifiers for those systems, physical or other processes, components, and equipment controlled by system elements, system users, including affiliations, access rights, privileges, even citizenship requirements, system provenance and the supply chain, maintenance or other relevant agreements, potential suppliers for replacement parts for the system, alternative compatible system components, the number and location and inventory of replacement system components, the ownership or operation of the system, whether it's government-owned, government-operated, government-owned, contractor-operated, contractor-owned, contractor-operated. You see what I'm saying? You want to see how that system is owned and operated. You also want to document in your system description incidents response points of contact. You want to document authorization date and the authorization termination date, as well as the ongoing authorization status of the system. So that's task C1, system description. Next up is task C2, security categorization. In task C2, you categorize the system and you document the security categorization results. Potential inputs to the security categorization task, is your risk management strategy. And remember, your risk management strategy will talk about the organization's risk tolerance, the authorization boundary, your organization and system level risk assessment results, the information types that are going to be processed, stored, or transmitted by the system that you're trying to secure. You want a list of the security and privacy requirements allocated to the system elements, and the environments of operation. You want to look at the organization authority or purpose for operating the system, a business impact analysis or a criticality analysis, information about missions, business functions, and mission business processes supported by the system. Now, the output from the security categorization step is going to be impact levels determined for each information type and for each security objective, meaning the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You want to determine whether the system is low, moderate, or high with respect to confidentiality, and then with respect to integrity, and then with respect to availability. And the security categorization of the system is going to be based on the high watermark of the information type impact levels. And what that means is the categorization of the system is going to be based on the highest categorization for one of the security objectives. So if the highest categorization of confidentiality, integrity, and availability for each information type and for each security objective, if the highest is moderate, then the system is going to be a moderate system. That may or may not make sense. You can go look at other videos that I've done on how to categorize your system, where I drill down. I think I have 4 or 5 videos out there, and I'll link to them in this video. But that's what the potential output is going to be: the impact levels for each of the information types and the final security categorization for the system in question. All right, who's responsible for categorizing your systems? It's going to be the system owner and the information owner or steward. Some things to think about when you're doing your security categorizations. The determinations consider the potential negative impacts to your operations, assets, your people, other organizations, and if you're federal, the nation, that result from the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability. Your organization will have flexibility in conducting your security categorization. You can use either FIPS 200 to establish a single impact level for a system based on the high watermark concept, or you can use CNSSI 1253 if you're looking at a national security system. Categorization is carried out by the system owner and the information owner in collaboration with senior leaders and executives with mission, business function, or risk management responsibilities. So a lot of people may or may not weigh in, but definitely your system owner and your information owner will be involved. Cooperation and collaboration will help you ensure that individual systems are categorized based on the business objectives of the organization. The system owner and the information owner will consider the results from the security risk assessment and the privacy risk assessment for systems that process PII as part of the categorization decision. The decision is going to be consistent with the organization's risk management strategy, and the results of the categorization process will influence the security controls that are selected for that system. Security categorization information is going to be documented in the system security plan or included as an attachment to the plan, and can be cross-referenced in a privacy plan when the system processes PII. Your categorization results for the system can be further refined by the organization to facilitate an impact level prioritization of systems with the same impact level. Results from the impact level prioritization can be used to help the system owners with control selection and also baseline tailoring decisions. So that's your second task in the categorize step. Task 1, of course, describe your system. Task 2, categorize your system. And task 3 is get that security categorization reviewed and approved by somebody other than the system owner and the information owner. And usually that's going to be your authorizing official. So let's go into task C3, security categorization, review, and approval. In this task, you review and approve the security categorization results and decision. Your potential inputs are going to be the impact levels determined for each information type and for each security objective, the security categorization that based on the high water mark of your information type impact levels, and the list of high value assets for the organization. The expected output from this task is going to be approval of security categorization for the system. All right. The person responsible for approving security categorizations is going to be your authorizing official or an authorizing official designated representative and the senior agency official for privacy or your chief privacy officer. Supporting roles may be played by your risk executive function, by the chief information officer, or by the chief information security officer. It all depends on how your organization is structured. As I like to say when I'm doing this work, the roles and what they're called might change, but the tasks are the same and the tasks have to be done. All right, things to think about when you're getting your security categorization reviewed and approved. For systems that process PII, the Chief Privacy Officer reviews and approves the security categorization results and decision before the authorizing official reviews them. And you can look at OMB Circular A130 for more on the responsibilities of your Chief Privacy Officer, or as they call it, the Senior Agency Official for Privacy. Security categorization results and decisions are reviewed by the authorizing official or a designated representative to ensure that the security category selected for the system is consistent with the mission and business functions of the organization and the need to adequately protect those missions and functions. The authorizing official will review the categorization results and decision from an organization-wide perspective, including how the decision aligns with the categorization decisions for all other systems in the organization. Your authorizing official is going to collaborate with the chief official for risk management or the risk executive function to make sure that the decision for the system is consistent with the risk management strategy for the organization and that the decision satisfies requirements for high value assets. Keep in mind that the risk management framework is about making sure that you secure your high value assets. And when you're making priority decisions, you're looking at your high value, your high risk assets first and making sure that in a world of limited resources, the one that most of us live in, you cover the high value assets first and foremost. As part of the approval process, the authorizing official can provide specific guidance to the system owner with respect to any limitations on baseline tailoring activities for the system that happen at the risk management framework select step. If the categorization decision is not approved, then the system owner initiates steps to repeat the process and resubmits the adjusted results to the authorizing official or the designated representative. System registration information is subsequently updated with the approved security categorization information. And so those are the 3 categorized tasks. And I want to give you some references or other documents that you can look at when you're working on this, when you're at the practical level where you're actually doing the work of implementing the risk management framework. When you're describing your system, you're going to look at NIST Special Publication 818, which talks about how to create your system security plan. And if you're doing the NIST cybersecurity framework, then this is going to map to the core identify function. For task C2, security categorization, there are a bunch of documents. I want to point out FIPS 199, which tells you how it's done. 830, your risk assessment. 839 is the risk management process. And special publication 860, volumes 1 and volumes 2 will tell you how to categorize your data and different data types. For task C3, getting the categorization reviewed and approved, again, you're going to take a look at FIPS 199, NIST Special Publication 830, and Special Publication 839, focusing on the organization level information in that document. You can also look at Special Publication 800-160, Volume 1, which talks about the section that talks about the stakeholder needs and requirements definition processes. And if you're doing the cybersecurity framework, you want to look at the identify function in the core. And that is the end of categorizing your data and information, or the task associated with that particular step in the risk management framework. I appreciate you guys listening. Next up, I'm going to do a video on the next step in the risk management framework, which is the select step. So I hope you'll come back, like, subscribe, comment, make request. If you want other videos, just put that in the comment and I'll get back with you just as soon as I read them. Again, thanks for your time and have a great day.